Alright, this is another little weird creation of mine. I just finished this one yesterday, I think. It was pretty quick. And it is oil related, which is one of my very few oil related creations. I don't know if I'll put this up on the workshop or not. It's kind of a weird one, but we shall see. I need to paint it also, because obviously I'm not just going to leave it like this. I'm just not quite sure how I want to decorate it yet. But yeah, it's basically a distillation, I said that in the weirdest way possible, a distillation ISO container, which is kind of neat. So we got a bunch of random little hatches here. So what we can actually do is I've got a couple of random tanks here. This one is spawning with oil, so if you want to know how you can do that, I think there's a spawner on the workshop, but you can also just put 50-50 jet and diesel, and it slowly mixes and gives you oil, which is pretty handy. And then I've just got two empty containers here. And one of those is going to be for my jet fuel, and one of those is going to be for my diesel. And we do have infinite fuel and electricity turned off here, so this is going to be kind of a test also for this to make sure that it all still works correctly, because I've not really tested it out lately, since I last kind of said that it was done, so hopefully I'm not just lying. But yes, we'll just go around it real quick. This is the main little hatch. I should probably label it. This is where you've got diesel stored, jet stored, and the current oil level. And this is also where you give it supply of oil, and you can retrieve the diesel or jet fuel. There's also hoses down here. Also keep in mind that this is a little tiny container, so you can't store a ton. You can store about 1,200 of jet and diesel, and then you can store about 1,800 liters of oil. And it does have two tanks, so this thing's pretty complex actually. I've painted the inside black, so you can't really see around the doors and stuff because I don't like that. It looks a little bit shoddy. But yeah, so we've got a little hatch here so you can get some battery maintenance. You've still got the normal ISO container attachments up and down there. This is your generator access, so you can repair anything or whatnot. I don't know if it overheats. It didn't last time I tested it, but it might. I did add another radiator, so we'll see how that does. And then we've got the interior here with a little ladder, so you can go ahead and climb up into here. And then we have a bunch of breakers here, as well as fire extinguisher and fire equipment on the right. We've got our battery level, so this does work without infinite electricity. We've got our generator fuel, oil overflow tank, and primary, so that's how much is in each of those. And then we've got, oh actually no, it holds about 2,000, maybe 2,500. Then we've got our temperatures here for the overflow tank and the primary, and then some other little buttons. So what this basically does is this will take in oil and it will feed it into an overflow tank, and then that will go pretty much directly into the main tank over at this corner, and that's where it gets heated up. But you can do a preheater so that it actually heats it up really hot before then, not hot enough to actually convert it, but hot enough that whenever it actually gets in you can keep a constant flow, because it can take a minute every once in a while to actually kind of reheat it up. And another important detail is that you're replacing it. So you're filling the tank with oil, and then you're replacing that oil pretty much, and it can't always keep up with the conversion. So you're going to basically have a tank full of probably 70% jet fuel and diesel, which means that whenever you kind of run through that and it fills up again, which it does do slowly during the time, you're going to be feeding more cold oil into it, so you might have some pause periods. But hopefully that shouldn't be the end of the world since you've got some storage in here. Another thing to note is that this does not use the normal, what are they called, distiller parts. I don't think that's what they're called. But yeah, this uses the old filters, and what I discovered is that you can just heat up the oil with some normal temperature things, the furnaces. So I've got, I think, 4 electric furnaces in here, and then that just heats up the oil in a big loop around the main reservoir. Yeah, and then I use the old filters because it automatically separates it in there. You don't need the distillation parts. And then I've got the old filters that just kind of choose jet fuel and diesel, and then that shoots it out to the tank, and then you can retrieve it here. That's a very simple way of saying it. There is a lot going on in this container. I can probably add a little screenshot of all the pumps and stuff. This thing is solid and dense with pipes and everything. So we'll go ahead and hook some stuff up here. We'll go ahead and get an oil supply. Hopefully we've got a little bit going in here. Yep, we got a bit. And we don't need to, we can see that going up now. It's going pretty slow because we don't have any pumps. But it is still going just with everything that we got in there with pressure. So what I can go ahead and do is we can go ahead and turn on all of this stuff. We can go ahead and get some lights. And we can do, what is it? Not separation pumps. I think it's, oh yeah, it's just that. That turns it on automatically. And you can see that rising and this one going down. So that'll keep going down because we're feeding it into here. And that's just going right from the main tank. So that'll take some time. Oh, I got to plug that in too. That's supposed to be a little startup thing. So while that's hooking up, what we can do is we can go ahead and get diesel out to here. And we can get jet fuel out to here. There we go. And I have made sure that we can't just send the diesel and jet fuel right out. So we do have a valve for that. So we actually have to turn on the separation pumps, which will send it all out. Yeah, because I didn't want my testing to be kind of faulty and just have it going through here right into there and not really separate it all. But it does separate more whenever you're mixing it all together with the pipes and pumps, and it's going through all the tanks and stuff, which is good to know. And it does work best whenever you have a constant flow of oil in here as well. It's not as needed, like you can just fill up these tanks and then leave it, but it won't actually work if you're under, I think, 200 liters in the primary tank. So you'll always have a little bit there. I might actually add a little drain valve so you can get that last little bit out again. Just with the way that the tank's laid out and everything, it just doesn't work, which I think is all right. So there we go. So that is all filled up. Let's see. This reservoir is filling as well. And we can go ahead and turn on the preheater. And we can do the primary heaters as well. And as you can see, we're blowing through our battery here. Not actually too quickly. It's pretty good on that. And we can go ahead and turn on the generator if we want as well, because that is going down. And we can see those going up. That generator should be on pretty soon here. Exhaust is on this side, which is why I'm looking. There we go. And we should be going up pretty soon here. The generator does barely keep up. It's not as good whenever you're going full steam, but it's good enough. I tried to keep it just barely over the line. Because, yeah, you don't really need it that much, overkill or anything like that. And it does like its fuel. It's not too bad on fuel, but it's not great. It doesn't have a huge tank. It's like 500 liters. I've not done the math on how far that'll take you, but you can always just have a fuel tank, an external tank ready for it. So as you can see here, we are heating up in the overflow tank. It's not as much. And then the primary tank is up to 361. So that, I believe, once that gets to 371 is whenever we start producing our fuels, and then we can start separating them. And yeah, so you can see it always fluctuating, and because we have a constant flow, it will keep feeding in here into the overflow tank, and then that overflow tank is always topping up the primary. So it's feeding in small amounts so that it can heat up quicker. Rather than just going through it and then dumping it and then dumping all the cold stuff in. So it's trying its best. Very minimal testing went into this, but it seems to work out pretty well. Let's see if we're full battery yet. We're getting there. The generator does not output very much. I thought this stuff would be way more intensive and require a lot more battery. But we're only producing like 300 S-watts, I think. Barely, if that. It's not much. Let's see. Alright, this is just about there. I kind of like this interior too. It's kind of got like a cozy vibe, which kind of is the opposite of what I would expect from this, which is kind of fun. Yeah, I like it. It's still got all the same connection ports and everything like that, but it does have some fluid ports, so you won't be able to butt it up to things really closely in the editor, which is alright. And that's just about up to temperature. Let's see how these are doing. Oh yeah, down to 200 liters of that, 6,000 liters of oil. So that's very good. I would just use an actual oil rig, but I'm not feeling patient right now, and I don't feel like mining right now. I'm just waiting there forever. Alright, there we go. So we should be producing now. And that's all going to be mixed in there, so we definitely have just oil in there right now. And we can go ahead and do that. And you can see that our primary is going down quicker now. And we most likely have stuff going into here. Yep, there we go. So now we have jet in here and diesel in there, and it is a 50-50 split. And then that should be going directly into this. Yep, there we go. And it's hoses, so again, you're not going to have great flow rate, but it is pumping out of there pretty good. And again, it does have this weird little kind of pause halfway through, where it does take a minute to keep going, where you just have to kind of heat up. I think it's just whenever it completely gets taken over with the oil and the, the jet fuel and the diesel. Because it does read, I think the heater will only turn on if there's actually oil in there. So I think it has to reheat up a little bit, which causes a little bit of a moment of no production, which isn't the end of the world, but it's not the best. And I don't really have any room to change that. But I could just leave the heater on as well. It's just more electricity and everything that you might not have to do. I could also add a throttle on this so that it kind of auto-regulates, because we don't need this full throttle the entire time, even though it's barely keeping up with it right now. And we do have 2 ports back there for refueling the actual container's generator, and you can actually take electricity from this as well, but that's not as recommended. Oh, there we go. So yeah, we definitely have some heating issues here. Let's go ahead and turn that off, and engine overheating. Let's go ahead and grab this fire extinguisher as well. So I definitely got to do something about that. I don't have a torch, actually. That would be a good little addition as well. But we are not on fire. Possibly a good idea to fix that overheating. Let's go ahead and just turn on infant electric. And we'll just go ahead and turn that, oh, not that, the generator right off. And as we can see, these are all still holding our temperature. And we're still topping up here in the overflow tank, and we are still full here. And look at that. Nearly 400 liters, and it's still going down, and it's going up here. But yeah, it'll go faster also if you have actually pumps on this side, which I don't have. This is just going right. Oh, I do. Never mind, I'm lying. It's going as fast as it can, but that's not bad. It looks like it just sped up a bit. But yeah, so pretty basic. Kind of fun, kind of useful if you do some oil stuff, and you can kind of just trailer it in and trailer it out, whatever you need. You don't need a full system or anything, and I don't remember the price, but I think it's really cheap, and it doesn't weigh a ton. I think it weighs 4,000, which is a bit, but not the absolute end of the world. But yeah, I think that's just about it. I do got to fix that heating issue in the engine and add a torch. That would be good. I might add a little equipment hatch somewhere. There is not a ton of room on this thing, which is the issue I keep coming into, but it'll be alright. I'll hide it somewhere. I could also just put it on the side. But yeah, let me know if you have any paint ideas for this, because it's kind of just chilling like this right now, and I don't really want to upload it as a complete joke like this, but I might. But yeah, so we'll see. Thanks for watching if you made it to the end, and hopefully this was mildly interesting or something. But yeah, it was a video for sure.